Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ review number 225 here late on a Sunday night. Of course, it's 10 p.m. Eastern, but Aaron's in California, so it's earlier for him. Gentlemen, what's going on this week? Walter Cruz, I'll start with you. We'll get you out of the way. What's up? I see you got Roman Reigns behind you. Still the champion.
Yeah, still the champ. Nothing much. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I just said let's get the ball rolling, as Aaron said earlier. It's later, so don't want to take too much time in the intro.
Yeah, maybe we can streamline the show and be done in 45 minutes. Shout out to Colin the Cleaver Andrew, of course. He's in the chat. And Noah Foster, you're back on the review this week. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Just taking things nice and easy. Simple as that. Getting ready for work tomorrow. Looking forward to once again re-engaging in a conversation of wrestling regarding last night's events and so much more. And it's good to see you once again, Virtue. Shout out, of course, to our fellow Ohioan brother, the Cleaver Con Andrew. Let's have a fun time and get the ball rolling.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And we will. Aaron Rift, what's up?
Doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to tonight's discussion. And this is just a 1 week deal, everybody. Had a little scheduling conflict and had to make this stream later than usual. But next week, we will be back at our normal time. We do have a few super chats here. The Cleaver Colin Andrew sent in $2. LA Rift. There you go. LA Rift. Back in my home turf.
Yeah.
Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. And he says, welcome to a special 10 p.m. Eastern NoDQ review 225. Like, share the video, say yes to NoDQ. Hashtag stick to my shtick. Hashtag feel merchy. I'm very curious to see how this discussion goes. I want to know what everybody thought about Elimination Chamber and the finish to the show. And of course, we got some other topics. So Virtue, let's get right into it.
All right, well, we are going to start fresh right here with the Elimination Chamber. Now, yes, we know Aaron does his recap for the show, but we're going to go ahead and talk about that anyway. And maybe Aaron let it sink in a little bit more. Maybe he has some changes of thoughts from last night. But this is where we're at going into WrestleMania. Based on what happened at the Elimination Chamber, Asuka won the Women's Elimination Chamber match, so she'll be going to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. You know, it was what it was. She was like the only one in that match that was obvious that she was going to win. You know, and you know what it is, these pay-per-views or PLEs now, before WrestleMania, they've always been filler. This one seemed a little bit more special, though, because of the whole Bloodline storyline. Edge and Beth defeated Judgment Day, so there you go. Maybe that's closure there, but we'll see what happens, right? There's always rumors of Edge and Finn Balor at WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. Lesnar was DQ'd, so there you go. That was a spam finisher match, and that feud is continuing. But Bray Wyatt recently was going to call out the winner of that match. Like, what does that mean? He's calling out Bobby Lashley now? Crazy times. Theory retains. Obviously, we saw Logan Paul make an appearance to further his feud with Seth Rollins. And then, of course, Roman Reigns is still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Like, why? I just can't believe they couldn't figure out by now how to split those titles up. Because the problem would be solved if those titles were both split. Night 1, night 2. Aaron, we've talked about it. What's everybody's thoughts with Elimination Chamber here? Aaron and I both kind of thought that championship match was overbooked a little bit. And they could have made it. It was right there in front of them. It was easy with the Jey Uso stuff. We'll talk about that as we kind of go around here. But Noah, thoughts in general on Elimination Chamber? It was entertaining. You know, to me, it was just another filler. And Sami Zayn got the pop for his home crowd. But I didn't feel any magic in the air like people, you know, oh, Sami Zayn, once in a lifetime opportunity. No, I was equally as entertained with the Johnny Knoxville match at WrestleMania than this for Sami Zayn, because I just want to be entertained. I don't need that, you know, he has to win, you know, or it has to be done right. But what's your thoughts here on the EC PLE?
I thought there was a lot of nice suspension of disbelief, especially when it came to the main event, and the audience definitely was the star player in that whole entire match and the story being foretold. As far as the rest of the show, it was pretty much, yeah, we already knew what was going to happen, except for maybe the Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar thing, and the whole idea of Bray Wyatt now taking on the almighty Bobby Lashley, who technically was the winner in disqualification. That's a little weird to be seen. If anything else is a highlight, I would say Montez Ford definitely took the moment that he could in his chamber debut and could definitely be a singles champion before the end of the year, too, because they do like to focus more on singles competitors versus tag teams. Let's call it how it is. As far as the main event, honestly, this show was literally based around that. Everything else is like, okay, we're just building up towards this. Even the Edge and Beth homecoming was like, meh, you kind of knew that was going to happen. Second time, great couple won together, mixed tag team match, and they were also on their home turf. But as far as the main event goes, this audience to me was the star player. It gave a lot to the story. Yes, there was a lot of suspension of disbelief. That's kind of what you want if you're going to be engaged in something like this. But then the extra elements come into play. Kevin Owens, do you forgive me? Was this just a one-time audible? Are you tired of seeing Roman Reigns do this nonsense? Jey Uso, are you truly alongside your brothers, or have you developed your own backbone conscience? You want to run this back from the very beginning because you were the first needle that dropped to become part of what became the bloodline. So if nothing else, the story, Cody Rhodes talked about finish your story. I don't think Sami Zayn's story is finished. I just think he had his greatest moment, and now we've reached a climax. I still think we're on route to have the ultimate tag team match in WWE history, and I feel it's rightfully deserving so when it comes to the four involved. But as far as WrestleMania, I said the word Rumble. It's going to be Cody. I said last year at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. It's going to be Cody. As far as this year's WrestleMania, I cannot 100% say that's going to be Cody because the elephant in the room, as you alluded to, Roman Reigns still has both titles. And primarily it's about the Blue Universal Championship with WWE playing an accessory. At this point, Roman Reigns is just trying to beat the next person in ranks, and that's Pedro Morales at 1,070 days, and I think he could very well do it. But as far as a filler show, for the first time in a long time, they made the filler show actually matter towards the next of the big four, #5. Triple H, decent job. It was a decent show last night.
See, Noah, if they had the two titles split to defend them, Roman still had them, but they were both, defended individually. They would have so much room to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing: even if Cody beats Roman Reigns for the titles, they're in the same predicament. Right. Cody now has both titles, and they're going to throw away Roman's. When's the next time someone's going to have the possibility of hitting 1,000+ days? Right. And again, that might not mean anything to them. They may, we can put out any bloodline shirt and it's going to sell.
Right.
Walter, thoughts here, and the thing is with this match being overbooked, did they have to have two referees? Somebody pointed out, well, Kevin Owens is still upset at Sami Zayn. He hasn't officially got because of all the stuff that Sami Zayn was trying to do in the bloodline. So maybe that's why he hesitated, didn't come out on time. But they could have avoided all of that by two simple things, Walter Cruz. A clean finish for Roman Reigns, which I don't know why they don't let him do that. He should. Just the fact that the bloodline could come out and help him at any time is a disadvantage for any of Roman's opponents. A clean finish last night would have been great. They could have beat him down after the match, and then Owens could have came out for the save. Or like Aaron suggested, just move the Jey Uso story. I don't understand why he's still in limbo. He was the guy, right? He was the guy that said Sammy doesn't belong with us. He's not blood. They made him kind of change his mind, but Sammy ended up getting, showed his true colors. Why wouldn't Jey immediately say, I told you so? And I hope that's how this story plays out. I hope him being mad and being distant right now, when he gets the opportunity to explain himself, I hope he says that's because I told you guys so, and you're supposed to believe your blood. But what's your thoughts? Because some people thought this match fell flat at the finish, the overbooking of it. Not the hype, not as the match was taking place, just the finish part and all the loose ends that just took place at the end with the two referees. Go ahead, Walter Cruz.
Shenanigans.
Okay. Yeah, let me Let me digress first with the 2 titles situation. What you should have did is never gave him both titles. You shouldn't have did the whole Brock Lesnar thing. You should have left the title separate. Then you wouldn't have been in this situation because Cody could have went after the WWE title on Monday, and you could have saved Sammy for WrestleMania to go after the Universal title, and this story would have become even bigger. But that's neither here or there. They did what they did, and now you backed yourself in the corner with both titles, and you don't know how to book the split because you don't want to make anybody look bad. So you did it to yourself, WWE. I don't know why they did it, but they did it. In terms of the chamber PLE in general, it was good. PLE, everything went the way we pretty much thought it was going to go, except the Bobby Lashley. I thought Brock would win that. I don't know. That was like a video game where you like start the match with all the finishers on it, and you just keep hitting the same button over and over again. That's pretty much what they did. And then you ended in a low blow. You got these 2 powerhouses. So then now we don't know where that's going to lead. So I don't know if Wyatt's going to do a triple threat with those 2, or if they're going to reunite Hurt Business and maybe do a tag match, which would be weird anyways. Because Wyatt, a few weeks ago, Uncle Howdy just gave him the Sister Abigail, and now they're showing up together as partners. It just, I don't know. It's a little weird with Wyatt. I think even though it's Triple H in charge now, they really don't know what to do with Wyatt. I don't know. It's just weird to me. And then in terms of the chamber, they definitely, in terms of the main event, they definitely overbooked it. You don't need 2 ref bumps. You don't need KO at the end. What you should have just did was plain and simple. You had it. Should have had Jay beat the hell out of Sammy with the chair, turn on him. You draw the heat on everybody. You should have left Sami Zayn a bloody mess in the middle of the ring and got all the heat back on the bloodline, because what that would have done is now everybody would have begged Cody to get revenge for Sammy. It would have been an added story. Now everybody would have been like, we want Cody to win, and nobody would turn on Cody because it was a little bit fair that they might turn on Cody in terms of Sammy. If you would have put that heat right back on the bloodline, had Jay beat the hell out of Sammy, they all beat him, left him a bloody mess in front of all his fans in front of Canada, that would have drew mega ultra heat, like atomic bomb heat. They would have booed the hell out of him. You wouldn't have heard the end of booing. Like it would have went off the air with nothing but boos and F you Roman and F you Bloodline. They probably would have got a F you Usos chant out of it, or F you Jay. They could have went so many ways, and they screwed the pooch. They definitely overbooked it. They put too much thought into it. I don't know. You didn't need 2 ref bumps, and like you said, a nice clean finish. How many times did Roman finish clean on his reigns? A lot of them, the bloodline interfered. Yeah.
And I get like mob mentality, mafia, like whatever it makes, but Roman used to win clean a lot as a babyface. Now when you're a heel, you're just not good enough to win clean that much anymore.
On top of that, we're Solo in all this. Like, is he injured or something? Like, Solo just disappeared. Like it just, I don't know. So, and I hope they do what you said with Jay. I hope Jay be like, the only reason I'm pissed off and separate is because I told y'all from the beginning, and you dumbasses wouldn't listen. He won't say dumbass, but he was like, your family wouldn't listen to me. And look, and I'm right all along. You owe me an apology. I don't owe you an apology. Something like that. So hopefully we'll see that.
Paul Heyman did tell the Usos last week, the Tribal Chief did tell him to stay home at Elimination Chamber. They went against the wise man. They went against Roman. So at the end of the day, did Roman actually want this? We really don't know who's in control here. The only thing we know is Roman Reigns still has both titles heading into WrestleMania to face Cody Rhodes.
That was more of a tease, I think, that because Jay shook hands or did that hand slap with the fist bump with Sammy. So he was like, look, you see things at home that you don't see when you're there, because Roman saw that watching it on TV, in kayfabe.
Yeah. And I call bullshit on Mr. Tito. He will say if there's a mass agreement of something, he's going to say completely opposite, because that's his gimmick. So I don't buy that he thought it was an excellent pay-per-view, and he knows that match was overbooked, and I'm calling bullshit. And if he was on camera speaking it, you would hear it in his voice when he tried to rebuttal from that. Anyway, we got to do that again. So, all right, Aaron, over to you. I know it's rehash for you. So anything else? Has anything more sunk in? The atmosphere was still fantastic for the whole Sami Zayn run. Like in the match itself, like there's definitely no doubt. But when 2 referees became involved, and then it's just the timing of the way everybody showed up, and then we got nothing out of Jay. I think people that have been following this bloodline story have every right to be like, what? Like all of a sudden you're going to do that like now and kind of kill the mood. But and again, Aaron, they did that at the end because, oh, well, if KO came out and helped Sammy kind of come back after the match was over, at least fans could go home knowing that Sammy wasn't laying in a pool of blood or whatever. And that, to me, just was way too convoluted. Go ahead, Aaron.
I agree with you. I'm with you on that. I think that whatever they come up with will still be really entertaining. And I did think that Elimination Chamber was a great pay-per-view overall. Well, very good pay-per-view. I was just, I guess, having my expectations a certain level, and I thought of the Royal Rumble and how well everything was done. Like, I felt that they hit every right note at the Royal Rumble, and this time I felt like a couple notes were off. Wasn't quite the execution that the Royal Rumble was. But as people have been saying, there's 5-6 weeks left until WrestleMania. Plenty of time to build up whatever's happening with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos, and maybe it'll be great. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. And the rest of the pay-per-view was solid, although the Brock Lesnar-Bobby Lashley match was also disappointing. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, hey, Aaron, are you feeling a little froggy lately? Oh, I'm always feeling froggy. I'm ready to jump. If Mr. Tito wants a debate, I'm definitely ready to jump. I know he's got his opinions. He thinks that women should wrestle in a smaller ring. He's definitely an opinionated man, that Mr. Tito. But thank you, Psycho Jet Black. And Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, is Roman going to manipulate Jay because of the spear? A lot of people are wondering now what's going on with Jay. Like, that's the thing. I mentioned this on the live stream. I felt like when Elimination Chamber was over, we should have known exactly where things are going for WrestleMania, but we really don't. We know it's Roman Reigns versus Cody, but we don't exactly know what's going on with Jey Uso. He's still conflicted. He still doesn't know what to do. And I thought by now he would have made that decision. So is Jey Uso going to face Roman Reigns? Like after that Chamber pay-per-view, here's the other thing too. Like it's supposed to be about Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, but with Jey Uso now in the mix, I'm kind of wanting to see Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso after Elimination Chamber. They were teasing something with those guys, but the WrestleMania matches versus Cody. So it was really weird. I thought the Chamber finish was going to set up the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn definitively and make it clear Roman Reigns is now moving on to Cody Rhodes. But now we still have Jey Uso conflicted, and whose side is he on? Is he truly with the bloodline or not? So they're still doing that. And again, they got 5 weeks left, and maybe it will all make sense by the time we get to WrestleMania. Mr. Anderson, I'm hoping so too. Mr. Anderson sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, thoughts on EC Elimination Chamber was awesome. I'm 5-5 on the matches, and whatever happened to Jimmy not being anyone's B word? Well, at the end of the day, family comes first. And that's why I felt like Jey Uso turning against Sami Zayn, people were like, well, they're friends now and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water. And I think it would have made sense. Jey Uso, even though Sammy's his friend, the bloodline is his family. And, in The Godfather and other mafia movies, like people have to make difficult decisions, but at the end of the day, they're doing what they think is best for their family, even if it's something that the rest of us is morally wrong. In their eyes, it's justified and they have a reason for doing it. Jay costing Sami Zayn, he's hurting a guy who became his friend, but he's protecting the family and keeping the title in the family. So I think it would have been great, but yeah, missed opportunity.
Well,
they could
I
still
think it would have been more intriguing if they both were conflicted and didn't touch Sammy, because it's like Jimmy was his friend, giving all the high fives and he turned on a dime. Like it just makes no sense. Like Jay makes sense
because blood is thicker than water for Jimmy.
Yeah,
obviously, yeah.
And
that's what Jay was originally doing, and it's I don't know. Like I like layers to stories like this, but and Aaron, maybe they're giving that what we wanted to see how it played out at Elimination Chamber. Maybe they're giving that to Fox. Maybe WWE's like, we're going to give that to Fox. They're going to have that on a SmackDown. That's when we'll do it.
Well, they need to have something on SmackDown for Essence at this point, because right now you can focus on the Roman Cody thing on Raw and then the SmackDown side of things. What do you do there? Do you really think Charlotte and Rhea is going to carry all the way to WrestleMania? I don't think so. So at this point, I definitely would put the focus on Jey Uso and his overall thoughts, emotions, allegiances, choices, because at the end of the day, blood's thicker than water. You're also one half of the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, longest reigning modern era. So that's a whole nother topic in itself. And you have to have some sort of match set up for that, I imagine, at WrestleMania 2. So at this point, they need to use Raw and SmackDown both for Bloodline, but both for different purposes.
Well said. Well said. Aaron, anything else you want to add before we move on?
I'm ready to move on. I enjoyed Elimination Chamber overall, but there were definitely things that I would have done differently, at least in a couple of occasions. And also, Austin Theory, talk about clean finishes. I think Austin Theory should have won that chamber match clean, but hey, they got to build up the Logan Paul match, so whatever.
Was it just me? Was it just me, or was Austin Theory most of that match taking like dives and moves and staying out on the outside of the ropes until like it was time near the end? I swear he was out of that match most of the time.
He was.
You're absolutely right.
Because every time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, he just took somebody out. They were diving at him and stuff, and he kept staying out on the black part. But
I called that match down to a T, though. I knew Logan Paul was going to find his way in there. I knew it was just obvious. The writing was on the wall with that.
Yeah.
You did. And one last thing, Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. He says the KO and Cody are rumored to be doing a segment for Raw. I'm not sure where that came from, but I could definitely see that as a possibility. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says Austin Theory is the guy that EC3 could have been.
Yeah, if they did it right, they could have done it.
Yeah, possibly.
EC3 is another one of those what if guys, like whatever happened to him and what could have been in WWE, but for whatever reason did not pan out.
Nah.
His gimmick was the nephew Dixie Carter. I mean, you know how that goes. But anyway, all right, so we'll move on here. We'll talk a little bit of, for the WWE fan base, Sasha Banks, but now for the New Japan fan base, it's Mercedes Mone. Mone, like a take on money. And she is now, correct me if I'm wrong, Noah, she beat Kairi Sane, and she is now the New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Champion.
Yep, IWGP.
Yeah. And she won that in California at an event that Dave Meltzer, because he lives out that way, I think, attended live while Elimination Chamber, and one of the biggest matches so far this year was going on. He completely didn't care about it because he was in the New Japan Dome. All right, Noah, I'm going to start with you. Mercedes Mone doing a thing outside of WWE, and guess what? Now there's a women's division in New Japan, and she's over there because she wants to wrestle and showcase her skills that way. Thoughts, Noah Foster? I know this is your forte with New Japan stuff. Yes, Aaron.
Yeah, real quick, Noah, did you see the match?
I did indeed, because I look at all wrestling.
That's why I'm going.
And I started watching the NJPW pay-per-view as soon as Elimination Chamber was over, and then I watched the entire pay-per-view as an encore today. Tremendous 25-minute bout. So
you're on the floor.
Go ahead. So the whole thing about NJPW and Stardom, the most prolific all-women Japanese strong-style women's professional wrestling promotion on the planet, ever since they became a partnership with Bushiroad, I've seen more of the crossover. I've seen how much they want to try and showcase women's talent now on NJPW platforms. And since NJPW has developed the America brand to try and, further expand themselves and their outlook, further expand pro wrestling, which I always can appreciate. Even the smallest stuff matters as big as the small stuff, and that's my opinion. People don't have to agree with it, but that's the way I am. Simple as that. I really enjoyed what this match was. For me, Mercedes Mone, I wasn't sure how to interpret her after the whole Wrestle Kingdom botch debut. But the thing is, her and Kairi had a very competitive match. Great story. They had a couple of callbacks to their history. And Sasha Banks' best friend, Bayley, was there too, supporting her friend. At one point, Mercedes Mone did a Bayley to belly, which I thought was a very nice touch. For me, this just means that Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks, whatever you want to call her, is once again trying to redefine herself based on the fact that she loves professional wrestling. And also, Mercedes Mone, now the CEO of the women's division, all about that money. I'm curious with her name value and also her connections, how far she could take this title as far as expanding women's pro wrestling in and out of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So for her to win that last night in San Jose in front of her friend Billy that supports her against a former great friend and ally, rival in WWE, Kairi, I thought that was a very nice touch. What I think is going to be a very bright start for this new developing women's division. At this point, I just wonder, where does Mercedes Mone go next with the title? Who comes after her first? Is it AEW? Is it Impact? Is it Stardom? Is it Joshi Pro, Gato Pro? Is it TJPW? I can't wait to find out, but I really enjoyed this match for what it was worth.
How many females are in that division for New Japan? Do they have is it like a full division or just a few? Like, remember how WWE used to do with their women's title back in like the 80s and 90s? There was like two people, the champion and the challenger.
Yeah, exactly. And funny enough, Virtue, you're exactly on point, considering this title was first incepted literally this year in January. Right now, Kairi and Mercedes are the two of this division. As far as those can be in there, they have freelance talent from the likes of Capital Championship Wrestling, Kylie King. They've also used Stardom talent like Tem Nakano and Mayo Iwatani, who has actually been over here before as a former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, and also the SMA title allow him to face people internationally. So this division has just been established. Kairi was the first. Mercedes Mone, the second member, now the second champion. That's all they have right now. I have no idea who's coming next.
They'll work, the management over there will work Tony Khan, and there's your Forbidden Door stuff. How they'll get some talent there, or for borrowing at least.
Well, I mean, they have those partnerships with TJPW. I mean, Thunder Rosa once faced Mia Yamashita at one point, all the way from TJPW. So I definitely see a little bit of crossover work, if nothing else, between NJPW and AEW regarding a women's showcase at Forbidden Door. So I'm curious to find out what's next. Good start, though.
All right, there you have it. All right, Walter Cruz, anything to say about Mercedes?
I'm pretty much neutral with this. I mean, I'm all for people being successful outside of whatever they do. Good for you. Good for her winning the title, but I'm neither here nor there. But I'll tell you one thing, AEW, take notes. You see what New Japan did? They struck when the iron is hot. They knew all eyes were on Mercedes Mone. What did they do? They gave her a nice, good, long match, and they booked her as champion. This is what you should have did when you had Miro. That was hot. You dropped the ball. This is what you should have did with Keith Lee. This is what you should have did with your women's division, and so forth and so on. You should have did this with Wardlow. You didn't strike when the iron was hot, and you screwed up. Look what New Japan did. They got all eyes on Mercedes Mone. They made her the champ. Now people are intrigued, and you get more viewers. This is how you book people. And it's funny that you got this open door between AEW and New Japan, but it's like, share notes, Tony. Be like, damn, that's learn from people. So that's
we're gonna be talking about Tony Khan tonight. Trust me, okay.
For a whole different reason, but I understand what he's saying. Maybe he should get like Gato and Scott D'Amore involved, because I think Gato and Scott D'Amore are booking NJPW and Impact Wrestling better in certain aspects than Tony Khan is booking primarily the women's division and in other aspects. So again, collaboration can mean a whole lot more when you actually let other people's voices be heard and take that into consideration. And I agree with you on several of those names. I was also going to say Lance Archer, but we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, when you got all eyes on your product, give them what you want while they're going. Because if you don't, you're going to lose those viewers. While you got these new people, keep them.
Yeah.
Well said. And
Easier
what was
said
that
than
like?
done, though.
What venue
Easier
was
said
that?
than done,
What venue
It
was
is.
that
It is.
in Noah? Noah, what? How many people were at that New Japan show? Because like I see Tito saying 500. Why do I feel it was like 1,500? It was still
it was
more than.
2,000.
2000,
Yeah, okay.
I believe.
That's what I.
San
That's what I
Jose Civic
thought.
Center, I believe it was called.
Okay,
Did
so
good
yeah.
old JM go there? Did he go? I thought he said he was.
No,
going.
but CM Punk was there.
And so was Scott
Oh, yeah.
Very
D'Amore, and so was
interesting.
Bailey.
And he was sitting in like some bad seats, wasn't he? Like
Yeah.
He was
Or
sitting
did
by
I have some-
Meltzer.
Yeah.
Was he? Ooh, well,
Yeah.
He looked like anyway. That's interesting right there. But
Yeah, considering Kenta is the new NJPW Strong Openweight champion and said, I
hey,
saw
look, Aaron Tito's saying no way it was 2,000. And by the way, Tito's doing a good job as moderating in the chat because I got my faithful troll out there trying to make headlines. He was saying no way it was 2,000. So there you go.
Well, I mean, the numbers, inflation, all that type of stuff. And the fact that Kenta won the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship and said, look at my number one fan seeing how a real GTS is done. Kenta and CM Punk.
And I do got a little filler topic before we get to Tony Khan. But first, Aaron, what's your thoughts here, if you have any, on Mercedes Mone?
I'm happy for her, and I think she's taking the appropriate steps to make a name for herself. She's changing up her look. She's implementing new moves in New Japan Pro Wrestling. The question is, though, what's next for her? Who will be her next challengers? Where is she going from here? Will she end up in AEW? We all thought she was going to be Soraya's mystery partner. That never happened. I do not see her going to Impact. She did say she would like to face Mickie James, but I feel like that's a big step down. I think she's best off doing New Japan right now and riding that out as long as possible and see what happens. Maybe WWE makes her a big offer to return, and maybe down the line, once she gets the New Japan run out of her system, maybe she'll go back and be a bigger star, an even bigger star than she was before. Maybe she goes to AEW, but perhaps she sees that AEW is not exactly on fire at the moment and timing isn't right for AEW. I think her best bet right now is to just focus on New Japan and continuing to make herself a bigger star and focus on her own brand and not worry about WWE or AEW. Just do her own thing, do New Japan, do the side projects, do the movie projects and all that stuff. And, just take your time. Don't be in any kind of rush to commit to anybody. She could go to AEW. She'd probably have to sign a lengthy contract. And with all these stories about guys wanting out of their deals, like I don't blame her for doing the New Japan stuff and just sticking to a light schedule, make the trips over there and just focus on her other stuff. We do have a few super chats here. Yeah, you're probably right on that. I mean, we've seen what's happened with the others, so maybe she knows better. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, does anybody know when Naomi's WWE contract is due? Well, I thought I remembered that she had signed a new contract not too long before she walked out. I still don't know what's up with her either. Like, I've been waiting for her to come back and be part of the bloodline. But Walter, we know that every time I say something, it doesn't pan out. So what's the deal here?
That's what I want too. But I could have sworn, didn't she sign a 2-year deal or extension a couple of years ago? I think it would be up. I think this is the second. I think she signed a 2-year extension or something before.
She's not on the alumni page yet, is she?
Yeah, no, she isn't. She's still.
So this is just a hot take, but what if she comes back at WrestleMania and confronts, and maybe I'm just spoiling things, confronts Bianca Belair?
Who knows? Maybe she could be the mediator between Jay and Jimmy and get them back together right now. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, there's ways to get her back.
Now, I'll tell you what. Hey, I'm going to put this out there in the universe. If Naomi is the one that comes out there and settles the beef between Jay and the rest of the bloodline, then I will forgive everything that happened at Elimination Chamber. So I'm throwing that out there.
Hot take.
Do you guys remember? You You guys remember 1997 when Bret Hart came out there and had to reunite the British Bulldog and Owen Hart?
And Owen
Like-
Hart, yeah, dude. Mm-hmm.
Like, we got a couple of weeks now, like I said, and we could have the Usos really get against each other to the point where they actually have a match on SmackDown, and that's when Naomi shows up and says, "I'm tired of you guys fighting. Your family. We need to stick together because we're the bloodline and we're family." And that's what leads to Jey Uso going back with them, and that sets up the WrestleMania match. So perfect
That would be
idea.
awesome.
I would
Yeah,
love
that
to
would
I
see
be
hope
Roman
it
awesome.
happens.
I would love to see Roman Reigns actually instigate that somehow, where it's like, I'm going to test you two one-on-one against each other. Show me that you are still brothers. Fight like you mean it. Do you still want to be a part of the bloodline? So, I mean, there's still a lot of things they can do, particularly with Jay and Jimmy as single competitors up to WrestleMania and still bring them together as a tag team, Naomi or not. I bottom line, this week, they got to put the pedal to the metal full throttle and literally send us strong heading into WrestleMania. Time to build some stuff up because we have no idea what the hell this is going.
Or you could do Roman tries to put them back together. It doesn't work. Paul Heyman tries, doesn't work. Solo tries, doesn't work. And then you finally do Naomi, and she's the one that makes it work. And then they welcome her to the bloodline because she did it.
And if you're looking at the chat, yes, I do support 911 because if you have an emergency, you definitely want to get the help there right away for a burglary, a medical event. You know, don't call that number unless it's an emergency, right? Because you want to save those lines for the true emergencies out there. So just wanted to get that out there. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And shout out to the moderators for doing their job tonight. Much appreciated. Now let's get to Building Nexus with a $2 super chat. It was surreal seeing Mercedes with Okada.
Yeah, it was. I never thought I'd see that end to the day. And again, I can tell that Mercedes Mone has tremendous respect for the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the art form, the competition, the strong spirit, similar to Eddie Kingston, where, well, Switchblade Jay White, no longer part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, again, I'm curious to see where things go for NJPW on many fronts. And congrats to Mercedes Mone. Also, shout out to Jargo, my fellow New Japan friend and fan. The fact that Mercedes honored the late, great RIP Hana Kimura, that was pretty damn sweet.
I'm almost willing to bet, like, it's weird, you know, putting Mercedes in there with Okada and both having the titles. And there you go. Like, hey, is that like her shot at WWE? Like, hey, I'm just as big of a deal. And this company's recognizing me. That's why I'm no longer working for you, WWE. That's a big deal for, you know. I mean, Okada's like New Japan's golden boy, you know. So you don't just put anybody in the ring with him holding titles up and getting photos. So there you have it. Aaron, anything else before we move on?
I mean, there's nothing necessarily bad about Impact. They're just
small,
a very distant number 3 or even a number 4 promotion in the United States at this point. So for Sasha / Mercedes, she wants to keep her stock really high. She wants to be performing in front of thousands of people, not, with all due respect to Impact, 300 or 400 people. That's where you have the small crowds, you know.
They
I
were
don't
a
even
good
think they could draw
alternative.
2,000.
They were a good alternative for a while. They had it. They were doing well. And then they just screwed it up when they had Hogan and Bischoff come back. After that, that's where it all went downhill.
Well, at least they're finally establishing a stable identity and a more oriented, organized, worthwhile, stable environment where it seems like everybody has a place there and is doing things in and out of Impact. So again, there's that flexibility in redefining yourself. And like you said, a lighter work schedule, a more flexible routine, and you're also still enjoying yourself. So there you go.
There we go. We guys ready to move on?
Yep.
We got a few more super chats here. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Says, will Mercedes versus Saraya happen in New Japan or AEW? Probably AEW, but maybe Forbidden Door. Maybe that'll be the way that Mercedes ends up working for AEW rather than sign a contract with them. She represents New Japan Pro Wrestling against Saraya or Britt Baker or somebody like that.
Hayter, their current AEW Women's World Champion, champion versus champion. I can see something like that.
Yeah, that's the only way that makes sense. the Forbidden
Yeah,
Door.
I could see that happening, actually. I think it's more likely that Mercedes comes in for a one-off with AEW rather than sign like a 3-year deal and have to be committed to them long-term. Psycho Jet Black also sent in a $2 super chat. Would you rather lick toads or drink crab juice?
That's going out there.
You got to give up the toad now. Rather than a Family Guy when they were all licking toads.
Is it? Yeah. Is it? Oh,
I don't watch that show.
No answer. No comment.
I don't. He's referring to a certain. I'm not sure.
Just because there's toads in the room here doesn't mean that I want to lick.
Or does it mean licking mushrooms, like licking a mushroom or whatever? There you go. Like the way like
lick
drugs
a toadstool.
or toadstool.
Yeah, I have no idea. Is crab juice a SpongeBob SquarePants thing?
I have no idea. The last time I heard crab juice was a Simpsons episode in New York when I used to watch The Simpsons, but that was years ago.
That was like 20 years ago. If you're talking about
crazy that some of these shows are still on.
Something like that.
But hey, you know what else? WWE Raw is still on as well.
Longest running weekly episodic television show in history.
Crazy.
UFC's just as long as Raw. 93.
Isn't the Simpsons episodic, and didn't the Simpsons start before Monday Night Raw?
I think so. I remember they were on UPN at one point.
You know,
and they never got canceled. The Simpsons never got canceled and came back. They've just been running straight through. So
like
that is a lie.
5 seasons or some crazy number.
My little filler topic I just wanted to talk about is I reading all the different rumors and innuendos online, and it looks like the writing's on the wall that Jay White, maybe he's going to come and work here in the United States full time, and we'll see. Rumors about going to WWE, rumors about going to AEW, which he's already had a relationship with. Impact Wrestling, I highly doubt he's going to go there. I swear, Noah, I saw something where it was like a clickbait headline, so it could have been one of those bogus sites, not NoDQ.com, but like one of those bogus sites where there's a hotter free agent than even Jay White. Who's a free agent in wrestling? Like, I'm not even saying Jay White's a big deal outside of the New Japan bubble, but I think he can be from what I've seen. Noah, who's a bigger free agent than Jay White?
Well, well, considering I'm a guy that, again, doesn't look at stuff anything like this, but shout out to my friend Eric Brown of ATW, who always keeps me informed about this stuff. And again, only say yes, no to Q, folks. That's your source right there, reportedly, for opinions and truth. If not Jay White, and we're talking Triple H, there's only 2 people I can think of that I've heard maybe there's stuff about contracts being up for renew or contracts being considered. Tama Tonga, the current NJPW.
I'm all right. He's a badass. I'm fine with
champion. That. Yeah, and also Kenny Omega. Those are the only other 2 I can figure that Triple H might have his eyes set on, because Kazuchika Okada for the longest time he was trying to go after, but Okada's now NJPW World Heavyweight Champion. NJPW is not giving him up any damn time soon, I guarantee you. So, yeah, I know they have eyes on Tama Tonga. I can definitely see why, and why they also look at his brother, Tonga Loa. He's been injured for the time being, and Tama Tonga is really coming to his own. So, if not Jay White, then I have to go with Tama Tonga at this point. If nothing else, the Samoan background.
When is Omega's contract?
No, I have to. Well, that's the thing. I mean, the report is that it's either expired now or it's about to be expired.
Right. I don't know for sure which way it is. Eric was telling me a little bit about it. I was like, okay, you can talk to me about it, but don't tell me about the source, because I know these sources are just word and clickbait, blah, blah, blah. But I'll acknowledge your reporting here, brother. So, yeah, I don't know right now if Kenny Omega's doing like a Cody thing or about to do a Cody thing where he works a little bit for AEW while technically a freelancer. It was Cody Rhodes again who competed for the TNT Championship against Sammy Guevara last year at Beach Break in January, not under contract, and that was his last match in AEW. So at this point, I don't know, but Virtue, if it's not Switchblade Jay White, who truly is free at this point, I gotta say it's Tama Tonga.
Some people were saying Ibushi, and I'm like, so I don't even know. I'm like, okay, didn't Ibushi come over and work some matches for WWE?
He did. He was involved in the Cruiserweight Classic, but then he decided to go back to Japan. So, I mean, and then there's the whole fallout, and then Eric told me about Yakuza rumors, and he's got dirt on NJPW, and now Kota Ibushi is freelancing, and also going to start his own wrestling school in Japan. Kota Ibushi is actually going to be involved during WrestleMania weekend for the Josh Barnett's Bloodsport show, taking on Speedball Mike Bailey from Impact Wrestling.
I like Jay White.
That'd be a big hit for AEW if they lose Omega. Though.
He's that,
That's
like,
a big
and that's
hit.
the thing. Jay White's been stuck in New Japan, so only that bubble's going to know him. He did some stuff over here with Impact and AEW, but the guy is good on the mic. He can get heat. He can piss people off, and he's really good in the ring, so he's going to – the diehard wrestling fans are going to love him. I think if this guy was signed by the right company and they exposed him correctly and let him talk, and I think he could grab some casual fans. I'm high on Jay White.
This might be more clickbait
because
too,
I've
but
seen
I read
it.
something.
He's cocky, like he's funny. He's got that charisma, and I don't think that really shows in New Japan because of the way they kind of treat the product. But over here, to me, I'd like to see a company take a chance on him. But
I think I read somewhere where he doesn't want to commit to one company. I think I read somewhere he doesn't want to commit to one company. He kind of like wants to freelance and go multiple places. He doesn't want to be in a long-term contract again.
Pigeonholed into being like a Miz. You know what I mean? Like or like, you know, the whole what if MJF went to WWE? He wouldn't be MJF anymore. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right, because WWE recreates you, you know, and to go off what you said, Virtue, those personality traits more so were shown in his backstage interviews and comments.
That's what I'm talking about. Those type of things, and I get it. He doesn't have to swear. He doesn't have to do the AEW, the MJF stuff.
No,
he could be. I think he could be clever, and that's the thing, right? You're supposed to be able to promote yourself and bring people in. Not just by your wrestling work, but how you act in front of the camera and how you talk. I'm telling you, I'm high on this guy, and I hope the next 12 months there's going to be people that are, you know, and I'm still one of the guys that's high on Matt Riddle. The guy came down with some personal issues, and it got derailed. And Randy Orton got hurt when that was white hot. That's some bad luck there. I still thought Matt Riddle was getting projected up there pretty good, so I'm going to stick to my guns. And let's face it, Aaron. Wrestling they need new top stars. It's like, especially WWE. So why not take chances and bring people in and see if they can catch fire, right? That's how the world used to work in wrestling back in the day. And we got a lot of new stars that way.
That's what WWE's mistake was been in the last recent years. They didn't make big stars, and you had to depend on all the old people coming back or just Cena. Like, it was just Cena. Like, you had to build more stars.
And he might not get over it all over here, but go ahead.
They're trying with this NXT and this whole nil thing, which I'm still a bit indifferent about. But I do understand what you're saying when it comes to the quantity of the quality in top stars versus stars that maybe could be or stars that are today of a degree. It is a little bit muttered and all over the place.
Anybody else ready to move on? I can't believe I put Tony Khan in the main event. All right. So, you know, you can say anything you want about the Vince McMahon drama. I mean, at least he tried to keep things quiet, right? And it has nothing to do with the wrestling stuff, but like Vince was always professional on the meeting calls, the board meeting calls, and when he did stuff on TV. Tony Khan is completely, and that's the thing, he's not an on-screen character yet, other than coming out before the shows trying to hype the crowd. This guy just can't keep his phone down, and like I want to feel like he's is he working and saying things that he knows is going to get a reaction like I would on Twitter? Like, is Tony Khan being a virtue, or does he just not know any better and calling out Ariel Helwani? Like, and granted, we know how that interview went down. He answered nothing. So like, just he's the owner of a wrestling promotion, and he's coming across like Donald Trump on Twitter. You know what I mean? So like, and he's getting called back out for it. And that's not the kind, like when you're struggling to hit 1 million people, that's not what you want to do. You kind of like, as the owner of the company, maybe stand in the shadow and let like your PR team promote, and then you work on getting everything right, getting the right people in place and know how to write your show. Am I going nuts or Walter Cruz with Tony Khan? Like, I'm entertained because I like to see things blown out of proportion on Twitter and in the reactions. But I'm afraid it's going to become an on-screen character now. So I don't know if I'm happy or like you should be more like Vince McMahon and be professional and hush money. I don't know what to think with Tony Khan. I'm torn. Go ahead.
I'm with you. I'm torn too because it's entertaining, but he's like the definition of putting your foot in your mouth. Like he stays doing it. It's like, dude, shut up. If he put the energy he has doing this into actually booking his product and making sure it reaches viewers, he would have a competitive company to WWE, or even a great alternative where he would hit more ratings. He would hit the ratings that he needs to hit. He would put on greater shows and Rampage. He would put this effort into Rampage, make it live every week. Do this effort into your product. Your dad should put this effort into the Jaguars, and maybe you'll make the damn playoffs more often. Like, stop putting the energy into Twitter and put the energy into that. People are going to say what they're going to say. Put it into your product and put your product out there. That's what you need to focus on, not Twitter and getting into beefs and talking about Ariel Helwani and trying to get clout. I don't know if he's clout chasing. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but I'm with you. At the same time, I'm entertained by it, but then at the same time, it's like, when is it too much? It's like, dude, just stay out of the spotlight. At least Vince knew how to stay out of the spotlight. When he got in the spotlight, it's controversial things that he didn't want to get out. It's not like he was trying.
Yeah, but he was trying to keep it out of the spotlight. Yeah, he was trying to keep it out of the spotlight. He just got caught.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony, like that's the thing. Tony kind of comes across as like he's a podcaster or a fan or a Twitter gimmick, like me.
He comes across as a mark.
You're a billionaire trying to make a successful competitor to WWE, and even before that, just a successful wrestling promotion in general to give people work, which he's done. And it's just like it's going off the rails sometimes, and I'm not talking about a train derailment, but it's just, wow. Like, I don't know, man. Noah, I don't even know if you got anything to say here. I'm surprised you didn't start reading your book.
I was tempted, but it's like I always say, protect your mentality. When it comes to the state of society and whether you look at immaturity, idiocracy, perceived as comedy or entertaining, that's a whole different person's dismay. But I feel like Walter pretty much hit the nail on the head there, because at the end of the day, dude, grow the fuck up. All right, I don't know what the hell's going on. That Twitter's become this cesspool of childish behavior that has more attention than actual wrestling products itself. And maybe that's part of the reason why you don't have top stars or have the constant investment and engagement of an audience anymore, considering the short-sightedness of people. And like I said, I don't scroll. I don't have notifications. I don't simply follow anybody and be like, dude, oh, look, they put this thing out there. I go on Twitter and be like, hello, and then I give like a live thought based on what I see in the wrestling product. Tony Khan, at the end of the day, he is a businessman. He needs to act like a businessman, focus on growing his product, increasing his profits, expanding his market, increasing his brand outreach. To a degree, he does that a little bit, but then he goes back to this Twitter behavior, and it's like one step forward, two steps back. The worst thing Tony Khan at his disposal is not a giant load of money. It is a freaking smartphone and a Twitter account. If he got rid of it, then maybe AEW would be more substantial competition because the focus would be more on that.
Like, I'm just waiting for this to turn into a character on TV, but I mean, I'm almost wondering if that's like he's tried to sneak in there, and like some of the other people, like, no, trust me, this won't. Well, like Jericho steps in, Tony, you gotta just do your little intro before we go live with the arena, and and you can do your social media stuff and go do your podcast. But it's just, I don't know, man, and like I'm torn between. Like wanting to see, it's like you want to see the train wreck, you want to see the smoke burning, the explosion, the balloon popping. I'm trying to get all the political references in here.
I mean, some people need some form of entertainment. That's the form of entertainment. Okay, me, I just read a book, I sleep, and I play Sonic the Hedgehog. So there you go. Yeah. Or watch something else in wrestling.
And the more he does this, the more he acts like a child. Like I just said, the more he proves CM Punk right. He said, I work with a bunch of children. And AEW just keeps proving him right.
At the end of the day, this is the guy that pays everybody. He's not the guy that leads by example. That's why you have people like Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Chris Jericho.
Now, I want to be clear. No, I don't have a problem when he goes on Twitter, even though he's the owner, and it's this weird, like he's not doing it from the AEW account, he does it from his. But Dixie Carter did this too, and he's promoting the show that's on that night. And he's like, "Hey, bona fide or justified, this is awesome." Like, I don't mind that per se, but it's like now you're taking shots at professional journalism, and maybe because he's not Dave Meltzer, so he took a shot at Ariel Helwani. And trying to make Dave Meltzer look like more credible. I don't know, but it seems like it's backfiring on Tony Khan when he does this stuff.
So I hated when he used to say, "I got a big announcement to make," and it was all disappointing crap.
Well, they got another one coming up for this Wednesday.
Yeah,
exactly. On social media afterwards, after the show.
He delivered on CM Punk, but look how that turned out because he didn't focus on what he needed to focus on. The Punk stuff happened, and of course now Punk, it's getting time to where maybe Punk's going to be healthy. Let's see what happens. Aaron, any thoughts that you would like to add to this?
I wonder if the guy might be starting to crack. It's not an easy job. We can all talk about what he's doing, but trying to run a weekly television show, it's going to be very stressful. We have to look at it from his point of view. He's got a lot on his plate, and maybe going on Twitter is not the best course of action. When I saw that tweet from him, I had to double check. I thought it was a parody account when I saw it at first. I was like, no way he actually tweeted that. It just seems like something that Vince McMahon would never do. Or anybody
you have to look for the blue check.
I don't even think Eric Bischoff would have done that.
Like somebody who's got their head straight and they use Twitter strictly to promote their brand. I don't think somebody would go on Twitter and complain like that. It's just so petty. What's the point of it? Why did he even need to do that in the first place?
No point.
That's what we do, Tony Khan. That's what we do, not you. Don't take our gimmick. Don't take the fans and our Twitter. Don't you do it, and then everybody cares about what you say, and nobody else.
Right.
It's that's what we're here for.
Yeah, we got nothing else to do. We're not running a multi-million-dollar company. We're just
a
couple guys on the internet talking about wrestling.
It's not like we have real jobs or a state of living or responsibility or priorities. Who ever heard of such a thing, right?
You grew up watching Well, I don't know how long he's owned the Jaguars, but you see your dad running a multi-million-dollar organization in football. Learn from that. You don't see your dad out there tweeting bull crap like that about contracts or anything about in football. So learn from him.
I don't think his dad even has a Twitter account, does
he? Smart man if he doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I respect that.
I see why celebrities sometimes shut their social media down.
He made the main event of the NoDQ review.
He did. So maybe that was part of his plan. I think that was his master plan. He wanted to get on the main event. Yeah, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat.
This week.
Thank you, Psycho. Says, I just hope Tony Khan does not get the urge to become an on-screen character and play the typical evil boss. He needs to focus on getting more writers. Well, you might have a valid point there. I think that maybe he needs some help. I think we talked about this before that, one person can only do so much. And there were the stories coming out that he was doing all these different responsibilities in AEW. And, at some point you're going to break. Everybody's going to have their breaking point. And there's a reason why WWE has a lot of writers, because writing a weekly 3-hour show plus a 2-hour show every week, 52 weeks a year, that's a lot of work. One person cannot do it. You need a writing team. And we're seeing it. AEW was the shiny new toy 3 years ago, but now it's starting to show the cracks in the armor, and they need to evolve. It's not going to be the same forever. They're going to have to make some changes if they want to stay in the game, so to speak.
And let's be honest, would any of us take him serious if he tried to be an evil boss? He's too goofy for that.
No.
I mean, that would be Dixie Khan all over again.
If he
Carter,
tried
whatever
that,
her
like
name
you,
is.
if he tried
Dixie
that, you
Carter,
would just
yeah.
picture everybody smacking him across the face, like wouldn't you? Like you wouldn't picture him
No.
being any of that.
And he would be taken away from trying to actually book talent on the show and push people, which is what he needs to do. He does that to a degree, tries to make the shows feel a little different each week, but still he has an oversaturated roster. And not only what you said, Aaron, the fact that he runs a weekly 2-hour television show every week and Rampage, sometimes taped, sometimes live. Let's remember, he also owns Ring of Honor, and he's finally booting that up.
Finally. You know, once they're separate, I think that will be a positive. And once they get the video game out, hopefully the video game does well. Maybe that's the big announcement. Maybe they'll have the actual release date for Fight Forever. You know, I'm hoping that game delivers, because that will be a big deal if it succeeds and it sells a lot of copies. I think that will help out AEW financially. If it flops, though, that's going to be rough for them. So we'll see what happens with all that.
ROH weekly TV show or something.
I mean, I would not call that a big announcement, but we'll see.
Nah, I mean, they're doing it from the same venue as AEW Dark and Universal Studios, so I see it being a YouTube fame like it used to be during the pandemic. Probably like maybe it will replace Elevation and be the 7 o'clock time slot. Because again, you only have so much time to actually try and find something on TV versus just plant something in the internet or find some sort of spot for streaming. Not to mention, he has to focus on the biggest thing that is his next My Venture Virtue, and that is their next pay-per-view, Revolution, from the Chase Center. Their first time on the West Coast for a pay-per-view.
Where's that at? Where's the Chase Center at?
California, Los Angeles,
San Francisco.
That's San Francisco. Yeah, that's right. Because they're doing
Is
the
that where
Cow
the is that a bigger is that where the Golden State Warriors play? Maybe.
It's their NBA arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see what happens with that.
15,000 plus like capacity, and I think they've sold like 6,500 tickets.
Yep. They got a few weeks though, and they're still building the card, of course. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope they draw a good crowd for that. But yeah, that's pretty rough. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, and I think he's already been acting like that for some people. Imagine Tony Khan becoming the modern day Herb Abrams. People have been making that comparison now for at least 2 years. That's nothing new.
Who's Herb Abrams?
UWF. Look it up. 90s. My dad worked for him. And that guy, not gonna say too much. Watch the Dark Side of the Ring documentary on him. I think that is a good source of material for his life. Check it out. Dark Side of the Ring, Herb Abrams. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Tony's announcement is that he signed Bart Gunn. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, that'll probably be a bigger announcement than what the actual announcement. I would like to see Bart Gunn again. I mean, hell, they brought back Gangrel for a random ass segment, and they brought back a bunch of people from the past. You know, Tully Blanchard and all these other guys from the '80s. Like, why not bring back Bart Gunn?
But Noah,
reunite with Billy Gunn. Reunite them.
When is this announcement? Wednesday night?
According to what I saw, the match lineup, yeah.
It's probably another Forbidden Door type thing.
Wait, Noah. Could it be Jay White?
Good. I have no idea. I just watch the prog and see what happens.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're caught up, and great discussion tonight.
All right. Go do our plugs. Noah, thanks for being on the show. I'm going to start with you.
Always a pleasure, Virtue. We'll see what time it brings down the line. People want to connect more with me. Know this. I'm just a simple man and lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and in Foster 1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, my WWE family on the Twitter. It'll be a fun, busy week this week for me as I work with multiple partners and friends and do other content. Me and the Renegade JJ Williams Casting Studios will do a simple take review for Elimination Chamber. I'll do some stuff regarding New Japan Pro Wrestling, discussing the upcoming Pro Wrestling Noah preview, Keiji Muto's last match, and reviewing Battle in the Valley. Me and James Hebert, FDR Productions, will be doing our weekly forum discussing the last week of AEW, AEW Spark. And then this Friday, I continued simply predicting. Thank you, by the way, to everybody that watched the Elimination Chamber one. One of my most viewed ones apparently got over 200 views. I appreciate all of you. We'll be doing simply predicting for Impact Wrestling, and I'll be doing player bit coverage and live reactions for it as well across the Championship Network, whether it's Mia. And please follow Jeff Chadwick on Facebook and Meltdown. I just did a podcast with them earlier called the Wrestling Roundtable. So I just do all sorts of stuff and just try to encourage you all to do all sorts of stuff in wrestling too. But as always, let it conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. I love the pamphlet, by the way. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too. Treasure your families. Read a good book, by the way. Reading is good for you. And just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that.
Good having you on.
Noah, do you think Virtue should be reading the good book a little bit more often?
Is that the good book? Is that an actual?
The good book. The story book.
Wait. Time out. There's a book called The Good Book?
It's the good book.
The good book.
I mean, I got two good books over here, if that's what you're referring to, and I could recommend Virtue to read both if he wants any time. But we're all different readers.
The one Aaron and I don't subscribe to.
Don't subscribe.
Hey, no,
to.
it's got to be on Audible. I'm an Audible guy now. I listen. I like to listen to stuff.
I was just finishing up my listening of Under the Black Hat by Jim Ross on Audible, so I don't blame you. Very good book. So I mean,
there you go. Because I'm always doing stuff. I'm always multitasking. Good to have you on. Over to you, Walter.
Okay. Following Noah Foster, man. Thanks. As we always say, he's the simple man. I'm the simple follow. I have an Instagram, which is at Cowfile Farms. You can see the content there. And on Twitter, I am at Walter Alex Cruz.
Thanks for being on, as always.
Thanks for having me on.
You're always on. Aaron, request. Do you have the Big G photo? Because we did not have it on tonight yet. That's my last request as I come. Go ahead.
Yeah, Psycho Jet Black says, when are you going to sit on an actual throne?
Buy it for him.
Yeah.
Just, my throne's for my castle. I don't put it on air. This is just my nice blue lazy boy chair right here.
We'll have to start a GoFundMe for a throne.
Well, we talked about Aaron doing
there it is.
Oh my gosh, I love that photo so much. It's so damn brilliant. Just look at Big G's expression. There's freaking Double J right in front of him.
You gotta capture the one with me for Paul Heyman now.
That's brilliant.
There's one with you and Paul Heyman?
No, remember I showed you that how they showed my face when Paul Heyman was out?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. I'm still using the same $200 FlexNet gaming, FlexMax gaming chair purchase, so I definitely get where you're coming from too. Yep. As long as it works, why buy something new?
Aaron, any other super chats? Let's go. I'm tired. It's 11:07 Eastern.
It's only 8:00 here in LA.
Caleb Jacob. There you go, Noah. That's what we were talking about.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were applying a metaphor or an actual book, but hey, God bless you.
All right, guys, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Should be an interesting week as we are now firmly on the road to WrestleMania. NoDQ.com will keep you updated with all that, and that's it. Virtue, let's wrap it up.
NoDQ.com/merch. Check out all the shirts and the merchandise over there. As always, you can get a shirt like that, the I Am Sorry shirt. It's got the Virtue name logo on the back as well. But this has been the NoDQ review number 225. This week's panel was, of course, Noah Foster, Walter Cruz, and Aaron Rift. Thank you for watching this late edition. We appreciate it. Hot off of the semis. Yes.
We're back. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Says, where are some of your favorite books and authors? Well, my books tend to be on the bookshelves, if that's your question.
I think he meant what?
I like where. What?
I mean, what? Well, I mean, if he did met where, Alexa, and right here on my office desk.
What about you, Walter? Where are your favorite books?
You can find them on Alexa and Audible.
Audible for me.
I like reading a lot of gangster books. Is what I read.
Who's your
I
favorite?
like Jim
author?
Ross's
J.K.
book
Rowling?
on Audible. Jim Ross's book on Audible.
I don't have a favorite author.
Which
Jim
one?
Ross's
Under the
book
Black
on
Hat?
Audible was actually I think he read it himself.
Yeah, that's what I loved as well. Again, good old JR is always going to be my biggest inspiration for the fact that I do just fun YouTube commentary with Jeff Meacham, which I always appreciate. Slobber Knocker and Under the Black Hat are definitely two of my favorites.
The Cartel is a great book series.
Oh.
All right, well, there you go. We hope that was a good enough answer, Psycho Jet Black. And on that note, we can wrap it up now.
NoDQ Galaxy, good night, everybody, and we will see you again next time. We appreciate each and every one of you, even the trolls.
Have a good night, folks.
Wait.
Oh, gosh. He snuck it in.
Mr. Tito says, what happens with Sami Zayn next? Him and KO versus the Usos, I presume, but who knows?
I assume that's where they're going to go.
What else do you do with Sami Zayn at this point to put him on the WrestleMania card? That has to be it.
I mean, what else? Is it going to be Sami Zayn
You make
versus
Roman defend both
Kevin Owens?
nights. Sami Zayn one night, Cody Rhodes the other night. And you know they're not going to do it, but that's what you should do.
I agree,
That would be
Virtue, but
awesome.
again, let's just be real here. They're going to do the tag top thing. They're going to have either the Bloodline lose all their gold or the tag champs lose the gold and Roman retain.
That'd be a good thing with Roman doing both nights, but I see what Aaron was calling for, the tag team titles main eventing 9-1.
Be it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes sense to me. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I think it's highly unlikely though that they do the two title defenses, but we'll see. Anyways, that's it, everybody.
Good night. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Take care.
Wait.
Oh, my God.
First of all, a plug for the Cleaver Colin Andrew. Follow him at nodq.com/Colin. Curtis Butler sent in $2, says, go to sleep. I work first shift tomorrow. So there you go.
All right.
What?
Wait,
We
Psycho
tried
Jet
to.
Black. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. This is No DQ After Dark, ladies and gentlemen. What do
Can I
you
get
do
my-
with
can I
Cody
get my
if he
sunglasses
loses
out?
at WrestleMania?
You make him
Walter?
chase it. You make him chase, and then he becomes the main event at SummerSlam. And
There
that's
you
what
go.
you do.
Heard people saying that as an idea. Maybe Cody could lose and then he has to chase it a little bit longer, and that way Roman gets to the 1,000 days and Cody
what I
still
hope.
gets the title eventually.
And down
Virtue, you like
straight.
that idea?
I want that, and then Cody does it at SummerSlam, and then Roman can take his holiday off there the last 3 months of the year, come back at the Royal Rumble.
I'd
If
be
Cody
down with
loses,
that.
come
Back
Roman
with the down
Reigns.
straight acoustic version.
I'd be down with Roman Reigns losing the title in Detroit at Ford
Me
Field.
too. If Cody loses, then he'll probably be
Yeah.
the favorite to win Money in the Bank then. I guess that's what
Yep.
they do.
No, at this point, Money in the Bank, I feel Montez Ford should be definitely a dark horse favorite.
Oh, there you go. Make Sammy win that, and that's how he gets the title shot again.
You
and then he
kind
can
Noah,
probably
you
win.
kind of look like Montez Ford right there with sunglasses.
I don't.
He
I
wants
mean,
to
I don't
smoke.
smoke, but I mean that's a different form of smoke. I guess
All
I
right.
want that.
Aaron, we caught up. I'm done, man. I'm late. Come on, let's get out of here.
Come on,
Good
All
night,
right.
everybody.
Wait, no, I'm just kidding.
Walter.
Wait.
Peace out. 3, 2, 1. We're done.